Finally here, the Apple Vision Pro has been released.
Apple Vision Pro headset.
Literally day zero.
It's $3,500.
Its Vision Pro launch day.
Is this the beginning of a new turf war in a new space?
This is by far way better.
Many of my friends already had the privilege to get their hands on one of them. Unfortunately for me, that wasn't the case here in Europe. So the reviews and the product demonstrations are absolutely wild about this device. I did a ton of research. I spoke to many people before making this video. And in this video, I'd like to cover 10 things you didn't know about Apple Vision Pro. Number one, and that's the fact that Apple Vision Pro has been patented back in 2007. Yes, 2007, the year Steve Jobs introduced the first iPhone. And even back then, they already knew that they were going to release a device similar to what we have right now. The patent actually describes three important things, and that is the fact that it will represent like a movie theater experience. Second thing is hand and eye gestures are the way to operate this device. Third, watching sports games in stadiums is going to be a thing on this device. You'll be able to watch your favorite sports games into a virtual stadium. I think this is something Apple planned for a while now because they bought a lot of sports rights in the US. They bought the MFL. One of the main reasons why Apple has been buying so many sports rights in the past years. Number two is, as I mentioned, Apple Vision Pro is not available outside of the US. This brings some pretty big complications for people that are buying the Apple Vision Pro in the US and then going back home, for example, Europe, because there are issues with support. The App Store won't be supported in your country, so you'll probably have to use the US Store all the time. Also, when something goes wrong with your Vision Pro, you won't have support in that specific country outside of the US. So this is a big issue and something really to consider when you're buying Apple Vision Pro in the US and then going back to your home country, let it be the UK, EU, or maybe somewhere in Asia. It actually influenced my decision of buying Apple Vision Pro. Number three is that the video pass-through feature actually isn't that good. So we all know the exterior of the Vision Pro as a bunch of cameras actually live streaming what is happening outside. You're not actually viewing it live, but it's being recorded and then projected to your eyes. And I've read and seen many people actually complaining about this, that it's really like not entirely the reality, which I think is normal for a first generation product. But yeah, that's something pretty interesting. I didn't know. I thought it would be one-on-one, like real experience, but apparently a lot of pixelation and like shadows are visible when using the pause through video feature. Okay, so number four has to do with the fact that spatial computing is actually incredibly wild. So I believe this is going to be a game changer for many of us, especially for work. But what this means is that you can project screens everywhere around you. And what's even better is you can pin these screens. So for example, you can put a timer in your kitchen for something that's cooking. Just walk away, go to your office, and then have your whole work screen set up ready there with your main screen and then your secondary and third screens. And then the screen, the timer that you put, for example, in your kitchen will be pinned there. We'll just keep going and then you can just look around and see how it's doing. And the same goes with, for example, when you're in your living room and you have a screen there that's maybe projecting something from Apple TV. The fact is that these screens are pinned to their environment and that they're staying there. I mean, it's just mind-blowing. Number five is that you can't use Apple Vision Pro while driving. So we have seen many videos surfacing around people using Apple Vision Pro while driving their Tesla in autopilot. But from what I've read and heard is that you're not able to use this device when you surpass a specific speed limit, and also Apple Vision Pro recognizes a steering wheel. It will then just prevent you from using the device, which I think is an amazing safety feature. Safety is a priority when it comes to any form of technology, especially something that's in front of your eyes. Number six, the battery is limited to only 2.5 hours. So what this means is that let's say you're watching a movie that's longer than 2.5 hours, let's say 3 hours, you'll have a problem. You will need to recharge the battery. That's a big limitation right now of Apple Vision Pro. You could buy an additional battery pack which costs $199 US, but it's already pretty expensive device, so maybe you don't want to spend that extra cash. Yeah, that's something really to take into account, that when you're watching a movie or working for more than 2.5 hours, you'll have to take a break or use an alternative battery. Right, so number 7, and this is actually a pretty interesting one, and that is that people found out that you can actually detach specific cable that's connected to your Apple Vision Pro battery, and that it's a lightning cable. Yes, you heard that right. It's not the lightning cable we're used to see on the iPhone, and that has been ditched on the iPhone 50 model, but it's actually a smaller one, like in height, but a little bit wider. So it's a pretty interesting design choice from Apple, that they went with a special kind of lightning cable like this. I'm actually curious to know that maybe the EU will force Apple to go on USB-C on the future generations of Apple Vision Pro. But yeah, pretty interesting found that there's still a lightning cable that's being used in this device. Number 8, and that is that we also have a dual loop band in the box. Yes, we didn't expect that, but Apple is providing not one but 2 different bands in the box with the Apple Vision Pro. From what I've heard is that the one they marketed and what the one you're seeing the most is actually looks the best, but it's not the most comfortable one to use. So Apple included a dual loop band, which also adds some comfort to the top of your head and distributes the weight more equally, instead of just having the weight being pushed from the back and the front of your face. Really surprised that Apple included this one in the box. We know Apple isn't really the company that does that these days. They removed the headphones, they removed other accessories from the box. Pretty good that they're actually doing this for the first generation of the Apple Vision Pro. Number 9, and I think this is actually pretty shocking that Apple doesn't allow this yet, but Apple Vision Pro is not traceable through Find My. And for a device that costs more than $3,000, I think this is pretty weird, because I'm afraid that these things are gonna get stolen like a lot. You've already seen the videos of people using Apple Vision Pro outside. Just easy to snatch one off. I think it's weird Apple's not including Find My on Apple Vision Pro yet. I think it will come. For me, a must-have feature for a device so expensive. And it's also so easily integrated in the Apple ecosystem. Alright, so the last one, number 10, and this is to do with that many native apps from big players aren't available on Apple Vision Pro. Some examples here are Netflix, YouTube, Spotify. These companies decided to not have a native app on Apple Vision Pro yet. The reasons are pretty different. For example, from what I've heard is that Netflix isn't doing this because they think the effort that they have to put into creating this app compared to the user base, it's just not worth it right now. I'm not sure if that's true. We'll see if eventually these players will also create a native app when the demand of Apple Vision Pro and maybe future generations will increase. But for right now, we won't have native apps from certain big platforms such as Netflix, YouTube, and Spotify. Okay, so as mentioned, YouTube doesn't have a native app on Apple Vision Pro yet. However, I decided to create an app that actually is almost as good as a native YouTube app on Apple Vision Pro. It's called Holstream. You can download it now in the Apple Vision Pro store. It's just $199. Really brings the full YouTube experience to Apple Vision Pro. Make sure to download it right now. That's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and also hit the bell icon so you won't miss any of my next videos. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Peace.